Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another breaking news episode of the Team Inkfinity podcast. We've got the most important team member with us for these announcements today because the next Lorecast was today, and they announced a bunch of incredible things, one being the World's dates, which is why we have World's competitor Mo with us. So, Mo, thanks for joining, as always.
Glad to be here, as always.
Yeah, so I guess before we just start diving into it, what were your overall thoughts of the announcements and the Lorecast and everything in general?
Gosh. So first off, I just want to say they did a fantastic job.
Agree.
Greg is a vibe, and I like it. He did so good. They all did so good. Like, I loved it. I loved, interacting with the community before and after. And then, the nature of the announcements. I thought they handled it in a really good way. I liked it.
Sure.
I liked it.
Okay, I have to ask this question, and I don't want to be controversial, but I have to ask it. What percentage chance do you give it that they planted that enchanted Tamatoa in the packs that they opened?
I think it had to be. There's no way. Although I don't think he intended to get it. Like, this is like the worst time. But the thing that really killed me is like, can we get another one out of this box? Or what did he say? Like,
Yeah, I don't remember specifically because I was just like so dumbfounded. And I was still trying to get settled down at the time. And so I was still moving around and stuff. And so I like caught it at the last second. I was like, what is going on? And everybody going crazy. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious that they got one. So, it is what it is. But
he's just
yeah.
to Rochelle, he's just like, here's this. It's just like a $500 card or something. 300. I don't know. A lot of money.
Yeah. I think they're like 350-ish still, but yes, tons of money for sure. But yeah, I have to agree. I mean, I think, without like, we're going to get into some of the details of like the specific announcements, but like in general, I know a lot of people have been a little frustrated with the lack of communication and, the lack of organized play stuff. And obviously I will definitely put myself in that scenario. But now that we like got the behind the scenes peek on like, there's, a team of like 5 that is doing organized play before. And it was like one person that was doing that and set champs and everything before. And we have, an entire marketing team. We have an entire, communications team and like all of these things, like they're definitely taking all this like very, very seriously. And they definitely, exploded the growth way faster than they thought they would, like they said. And so I think, this is very much a lull and it's very much a, I don't know, another little like blemish on the, the initial startup of the game, like we got with some of the set one, like out of stock issues. But I think in like a year, we're going to look back at this and with how everything has grown and how big this, the organized play stuff's going to be at that point and just be like, I'm glad they did it because now we're in a rock solid spot.
I've seen like the birth and death of so many TCGs that I really cared about at the time. And I've watched how companies would, like drive their product into the ground. And this is not that. This is a young, successful TCG like learning. And the fact that they're adapting so fast and changing things up really leads me to believe that we're in for a good future.
I agree. I think, again, long term, we're going to look back on this time and it's just going to be one of those that we kind of, chuckle about and say, hey, it was a rough patch, but, given the investments that they've made from a staffing standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint, from a planning standpoint too, they talked a lot about in a couple of the interviews that they did that, they wanted to make sure that everything was fully fleshed out before they started talking about it. And so the lack of communication hasn't been because there isn't any news or there's anything to talk about. It's just they want to make sure that like all of the details that they're giving are all rock solid and, confirmed. And so, yeah, I think ultimately in the long run, we're going to be in a very, very good spot. So with that said, the first big announcement that we got is the dates, which is, correct me if I'm wrong because it's not on this page, but it's June 28th and 29th for the official tournament itself. And this is the broadcast team for the tournament. So Rebecca, JDZ, Brandon, aka B Squared, Liam, and Baker. I can't think of anybody that I would want included in this. I mean, if you have to like, this would be like my Mount Rushmore. I mean, I know there's 5, not 4, but as far as like, there's obviously a lot of other extremely talented, fun people, but as far as just, the overall vibe of the community and like the faces, this is definitely who I would consider the most important people to include. So it's just like they definitely hit this out of the park for sure too.
All-star group, and the biggest thing about this group that like gets me is like everyone here is super passionate about the game, about the source material. Like I love them. I love them, each and every one of their personalities. They're fantastic. I love seeing JDZ get to make his big showing on the, official event stage. I love seeing Rebecca, Liam, Brandon back. I'm so excited to meet Baker. He's been my
Oh,
favorite European personality, and he's a delight.
yeah. Yeah, I think that, this is going to be I mean, I shouldn't say I think, like this is going to be the first time that they're combining both of the different casting teams. And so, yeah, getting Baker stateside is a big one for sure. Cause the pipes on that guy just are unmatched for sure. And so, I know that it's definitely the ongoing theme now that he has to cast the Ruby matchups because he has to be ready for the be prepareds, and I'm here for it. So it's all good. Yeah, it's a good one for sure. And then secondarily, we also got news that there's going to be a non-foil version for everybody at home. So the distribution system is a little up in the air still, but they said people will have the opportunities to get these that are, watching at home. And so that's really exciting too, that now kind of like the DLC promos where we had the Cindy's and the Rapunzels, for, not the top cut people, but, prize wall type stuff. Now everybody's going to get one of these. And so that's super exciting too. One of my favorite cards, one of my favorite scenes from the movie, in a very illustrated out perspective. And so super, super excited to see this one too. And I have the option to get one myself, even if it is the on-foil version. So
I so glad they're doing this. That's card art is beautiful. And just, like if you look at the Cindy and the Rapunzel, like that Rapunzel's nearly $200. Like I don't know
yeah.
how the distribution for this is going to be, but looking at playability factor and how hype of a card, and it's gorgeous. Like this is big.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, they definitely have a home run here for sure because, the amount of people that want those DLC promos now, to your point, are just like through the roof. And this is going to be no different because the playability there, or the playability factor is definitely there as well. And it's, yeah, and it's just a beautiful card. And I think it's just like cements the end of the year, which is, really, really great to see. And so, yeah, the fact that they are going to, find a way to get everybody involved, is really exciting. And, yeah, I need a playset because I have basically cemented myself as a whole new world player at this point in my Lorcana career. And so I want 4, please. I don't know how to make that happen, but I'm going to try to figure out a way to either bribe as many people as I can, as I can, or somehow end up with 4 of them. But anyways, yeah, it's a super cool card.
Maybe I can find a way to bring a shiny one home for you to give a run through at a set champs once before.
Oh, no, see, we know you, well, I mean, they said like way back when they announced the Continentals that like we know all of the world's competitors get one, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that we're like, I don't know. I mean, I guess we shouldn't assume that, but yes, my assumption is that you're going to get one. And so I will very much not be playing it because it's way too expensive to do that, but I'll very much be admiring it for sure.
It'll be good. It'll be good. Be a swag moment. Come on.
Yo, for sure. For sure. But yeah, I think that, we have the date now set as a team. I know we are very much behind you and going to do everything we can to make sure you're ready. There's, a ton of good competitors, obviously. They confirmed 28 is the number that we're going to stick to. And so we know that you're going to come out on top of those 28. We just got to put in the preparation to get you there now. And we saw the first, we're not going to talk about this in this episode, but all of this set 8, there's a bunch of set 8 stuff released today too. If we talked about it all, it would be a 4-hour podcast episode, this one, but, yeah, so it's going to be, Reign of Jafar, meta, and we started getting the cards released for that. So yeah, I mean, what's your initial thoughts on just like getting prepped for the big turning here?
Oh, Lord. Let's see. How have I spent my time? Staying up far too late, reading obscure cards from sets 1 through 3 to make sure I know them all, having nightmares occasionally, Um, no, like definitely, we've started training, we've started getting ready, and I just want to make everyone proud. I just want to do the best I can do and really show up on this stage. I love it. I feel comfortable because I've played nearly half the players that are going to be there in some way, shape, or form, or played at the
True.
same events as them. And so it's like I deserve to be there. So I'm feeling good about that. I just want to make sure I've done everything I can do to prepare for it before it actually gets here.
Yep. Let's just make sure you save all of the time for the Dole Whips until after the tournament. Let's not go get way too wasted on Dole Whips. And I say wasted, that's what my wife and I say when we go have like 4 Dole Whips in a day. We don't drink the alcoholic ones. Not that that really matters, but I'm just saying we don't need you getting like overly like sugared out on Dole Whips before the tournament. So that's my one requirement is you wait until after you've won to go get all the Dole Whips.
I'm on my A game when I'm all sugared up. You know that.
That honestly maybe that's what we need to do is maybe we need to have you like a personal Dole Whip assistant to just like keep them coming so that you can win because that is very true.
I'm on stream and just see me with a Dole Whip on the side. Oh,
I mean,
God.
that is official Disney. You know, they're usually pretty protective of like what they show on stream, but that's like very like on brand for being at Disney World. So maybe we can get you a couple like on stream, or a Dole Whip hat or something. You know, like Dole Whip like Mickey ears or something along the lines that to just like keep you going. That'd be pretty funny.
I would love that. I would love that.
But okay, so yeah, there was a crazy amount of announcements like of the future state of the game. And this was obviously like the culmination of the end of this year. And so this is, the rest of the stuff we want to talk about for here is kind of like, looking forward into the future. And so the big thing that they announced then is set rotations. So we now know that, after Worlds and after Reign of Jafar, that we're going to get Fabled, which we already knew, but we now know that Fabled is the beginning of the rotations for the future of the game, which I'm kind of excited about. I think that this is the most healthy way to keep the meta in a very balanced, strategic state, because they can then, look back on previous sets and say, okay, what cards were very strong, what cards, had a lot of potential, what cards fit into the meta well for the new stuff that we're releasing, and being able to be very strategic about the things that they're bringing back. So personally, I think it's a great decision. I really love the ability to to go revisit old favorites from time to time too. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the rotation idea going forward?
I love it so much. I've played games with rotation. I've played games without rotation. It's always healthier to have some form of rotation that's not just like standing ban list.
Yeah,
If you and I know a lot of people are nervous about it, and I do
sure.
think there's just like there's no reason to pack off your cards or send them off. Like we're getting a reprint set, which leads me to believe there's probably going to be more reprint sets in the future. We're
Yeah,
going so like if Merlin Goat gets cycled out for a solid year, I'll be heartbroken. But then I'll be so happy when he comes back. But really, it's all about chasing power creep. So, like, take a game like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example. Yu-Gi-Oh, I played the modern Yu-Gi-Oh game for quite a while. I still dabble or keep up with my friends playing it, but it's in a constant state of chasing itself, where it power creeps decks out of existence at least like about twice a year. And you just can't keep up with that level of having to keep the game new and exciting, having to keep people buying product, but you're playing cards that are 20 years old. So when you're looking at Lorcana and we look at this last set and we see the effects of power creep really just power jump with the Sapphire decks early on in this set, just really like took us back. We weren't ready for that. It was kind of not a super fun time to be playing unless you enjoy Sapphire Mirrors. And that's just kind of what games devolve into is just like how do we get a new flavor of the month deck in if you are running if you're not rotating sets out. But if you're rotating them out, you're going to keep things fresh. You're not going to have to constantly chase the power level of cards from set one. Like think of cards like B Prep or Aerial or a whole new world. and they're so impactful in these modern meta decks. And without having to constantly chase their shadows or every card to be compared to a B prep, a Medusa, a Brawl, I think opens the game up to be just a healthier landscape overall. Even though
Yeah.
I will be sad when my bounce package goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too is, obviously they did announce that this is going to be a very, reprint heavy set, which, I think makes sense for like the first set of a new rotation. But I would imagine that like set, 10 isn't going to just be no, reprints. Maybe it's just like 20 or 30 at that point. And so maybe you don't get GOAT in set 9, but it comes in set 10. And so, it's not like you're going to go forever and ever, but it could still, cycle itself into at some point within the release cycle too. And so that's another way to look at it. But yeah, when we look at some of the reprints and things that we know that are going to still be playable. So again, if they're reprinting the cards, then those chapter 1 cards or chapter 2 or 3 cards that are reprinted are still going to be playable. And so if you have an enchanted Rockstar Stitch, for instance, from the set champs, and you're playing those are still going to be valid. Same thing with Tinkerbell. And so that's really exciting because you still get to play all your old stuff if you want to. I think that that's a big, I would say flex for, the players that have been around forever. If you want to continue to play your old chapter 1 stuff, then you still have the ability to do so, and you can show that you've, been around for a little bit. So these are the first couple cards that we saw that are getting reprints, being Stitch Rockstar, Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, and Maleficent Monstrous Dragon.
3 absolutely just iconic cards from first chapter. I
For
just
real.
remember playing in this meta and just absolutely like these 3 were just like powerhouses back in the day. So it's really nice to see them move forward.
Yeah, and then too, we get for one of our first looks at some of the new Fabled product, and so we can see that within the new reprints, you get kind of that new stylized like Lilo card that we got from the Lilo box set, and so it has the same art, but it's definitely a different variant of it, and so yeah, you can again kind of give you more opportunity to swag your deck out however you want, whether you want all these new reprints or if you want to stick with the old ones that show you've been around forever. I think it's just a really cool way to distinguish between the cards and give you a little bit of personality and make it fit how you want to to build your deck out, or bling your deck out, which I think a lot of players obviously at this point are very interested in doing.
A nice alternative to $500 enchanted Tinkerbells. I like the look of these cards. I
For
like the
sure.
little texture on them. They look really nice.
Yep, I agree. And then another very, very interesting bit of announcement we got is new rarities. So on top of the reprints and everything else coming in Fabled, we also have the addition of new tiers of cards. So, before it was just common, uncommon, rare, super rare, legendary, and enchanted, and now we have an epic and iconic added. And I must say the emblems on these are very, very love them. So very cool as well. And so if we're talking about blinging out decks and being, very stylistic and, expressing yourself through your card games, which, obviously a ton of people like to do, this gives you a lot of more things to go chase, which is pretty cool.
I love this. So, like, when we're talking about rotation, everyone starts to have very valid fears about the value of their collection. They don't want it to crash overnight because you can't play it.
Yep.
Well, cards can rotate back in, but we also have these alternate rarities to give some value to the set. And what I've noticed from other card games is these alternate rarities get these playable cards in higher amounts in the market, and it'll drive down some of the prices a little bit for the base rarity because people
Sure.
want like to step up.
Sure.
So like Tamatoa from this last set, imagine if you had an enchanted but also an epic that you could get. So there's 3 or 4, counting a cold foil, varieties of this one card
Yep.
that the regular versions would probably find themselves getting a little bit cheaper, a little
Yeah.
bit more affordable.
Yeah, I agree. I think, if you look at like Robin Hood Champion, to your example, but like an older version of that, Robin Hood Champion of Sherwood, is a massively playable card and, has seen some ups and downs depending on how relevant Medusa is in the current meta. But it has an enchanted and, obviously a regular and a foil. And the regular and foil have been very, very reasonable now for, probably coming up on a year, I would say. But the enchanted is still, relatively high price. And so I think to your point, as you add more tiers in to do that, then people are able to, to bling out their decks, within their means, and really, just like I said, express their kind of style. And so the collector slash, deck blinger in me is extremely excited. The pocketbook that I have is very not excited with this announcement, but
Oh, just
I
start
think,
talking about the iconics and then we'll talk pocketbook. Oh no.
I think, I think the that response is exactly what Ravensburger wanted though, because that's obviously they've definitely gotten the feedback, and they mentioned that they listened to the community, have received the feedback that there's just it's not near as economical to open a lot of these products anymore. And so I think a lot of people have started going to the secondary market, and this is hopefully going to change the economics of this. And obviously you're never going to make money opening product in the long run unless it's the chapter one and nothing can be found. But if you do make it a little easier for people to get close to even on some of the stuff, then that definitely makes the primary market a lot more reasonable. And so I think that that's what they're going for. And I already showed that one. So like moving on to the reprints, we're getting reprinted Enchanteds as well. And they now know like what you would consider fan favorites and what is very sought after art. And so they can obviously, again, do a very good job of hand picking, the cards that they want to be reprinted as well, because they know what people want. They know what, is very sought after, and they can do a great job of hand picking it. And I would imagine that a lot of people are extremely excited about this one. I'm not like a Pooh Honey Wizard, like truther and just like the ultimate fan. But I will say, like, this card is fantastic. Fantastic.
So one thing I'm not sure if they covered today, but I was lucky enough to be able to ask about it is, will old Enchanteds be reprinted? And the answer is no. So your set ones, your whatever, at least that art is safe, which I
Yep.
think will help value in the long run, like tremendously.
Yep.
And yeah, I love that Pooh Honey Wizard. That was a tongue twister for a second there.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
cute though.
It's, they did a good job, and I don't think it was in the official stream or if it was in some comments or an interview after, but they said they're going to start taking, a lot of feedback from the internal playtesting team to do like set champs promos and other enchanteds and things like that they're in their considerations for what they're going to do for prizing cards and such. And so yeah, there's the rarity symbols for the new cards. And I don't know why, I'm just like so drawn to that iconic symbol. I love it so much.
It's so clean.
Yeah, and so they're doing a good job. And so yes, like looking at epic cards. So this is one of the epic cards that they released, which was the Elsa Snow Queen, which was from set one. So this is, I guess, another reprint that we know is coming. This looks very much in line with the set one Enchanted. They've definitely evolved the Enchanted, I would say, flavor or style over the last couple sets. So this looks very much in line with chapter one, but again, I don't think they've given like expectations on this, but maybe one per box, or maybe I'm making that up. I don't remember, but yeah, it's a little bit more rare than legendary, a little bit less rare than enchanted, but the overall foiling and detailing, I think, is what they said from this one is going to be like what really sets it apart from like your normal legendaries or enchanteds.
And there'll be 18 of these in a
Yes.
given set. So yeah,
Yes.
that's really cool.
Yeah. And
Go ahead.
I mean, again, the collector in me is very excited to just have more like, epic pulls to go for. So really excited.
Yeah, it'll be so much fun. And I think they briefly touched on it, but no actual numbers or anything. But less rare than Enchanted, more rare than a legendary. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
somewhere
so the list that I had pulled up here, yeah, I mean, this is the actual tiers now. And so epic is in between legendary and enchanted. And all of the epics are foiled. So, I mean, I think anything with like the rainbow symbols are all going to, continue to be only foil cards. And so you're not going to get your just normal versions of those, which again, that's exciting. And this is kind of a question I have, actually. I don't know if you heard this the way that I did or not, but does this go in the normal, like, rare slot? This doesn't go in the foil slot, right? Or does it?
I think it would have to,
Okay.
right? Like,
I honestly, when they said it, I was like eating lunch and doing some chores, and I could have sworn that they said it goes into the other slot, but I think you're probably right. I think it probably does go in the foil / enchanted slot in the packs. But if they did make it, potentially where you could get like a epic and an enchanted, or an epic and an iconic in one pack, like that would be utterly crazy.
that would be so nuts. Oh, like, oh my gosh, that would just be so crazy. Once again, I'm just getting vibes from set one, just talking about this. Like, I remember set one, we pulled a discard card in the same one as like a foil Maldragon or something, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And yeah, just getting those same vibes of just like, we don't know. It's like a Wild West going into this new year of Lorcana. It's exciting.
Yeah, and I hope you are ready for the drum roll, because here's the massive, epic, one might even say iconic reveal of this set is dun 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 dun, the Mickey iconic card, and boy is it insane. It's very much the artwork from like the teaser of the set, but I mean, talk about a chase card, right? Like holy.
I just weep. I weep, Zach, for my because I want my daughter to have this when she gets old enough so she can look at it. Like, obviously graded, like, like not a toy, but I want her to have this card
Sure. Yeah.
so bad. Like, especially if the other iconic, I don't know if if they said anything about
I
it, but
think they said
especially
it's
the
the
other
mini. I think they said it's the connecting mini, and they
yeah.
didn't show that one off, but I'm pretty sure it's the mini from this one. And so as Mo said, there are 18 epics, 18 enchanteds as has been, and then 2 iconics per set.
I think it is. I think they confirmed it. I don't know if they confirmed it would be mini, or at least hinted around that it's mini, but it would make sense. And oh my gosh, I want that pair of cards so bad. I've not wanted, like, I like enchanteds. I think they're really cool, but I haven't just like super chased one since set 5 and Clarabelle. This
Yeah.
I want to chase. I want this card. Like, I want this one and the other one. I hope it's not going to cost me well into the 4 figures to get them.
The other thing they kind of mentioned on this one, and they had an actual physical card that they showed on the Lorecast, is I don't remember. I'm not technical enough to remember the process, but it's all of the text and the emblems you can see are red, and so they use some like red, like it's like almost stamping process. At least that's the best way that I can explain it. That like basically like lays the foil on top of like the rest of the shininess, and so it like gives it even more pop. And so yeah, the art / like production, manufacturing teams, whatever you want to call them, just absolutely knocked it out of the park with these, because I have a feeling a lot of people are in your same boat where they're just going to absolutely chase after these. And I don't know how expensive they're going to be, but if enchanteds usually range around, $150-ish, depending on how, sought after it is from a playability perspective. I would imagine that this is in the $350 to $400, probably $500 range, which again, from a, an economic standpoint of the TCG, that gets collectors into the space, and to like really, blow up the game and to like really make it successful. Like you need the collecting side of it. And so that makes me really, really excited for the longevity as well, because you want to, entice those people to come and enjoy the game as well.
And one thing I would like to mention about this card, and hold on, I'm fact checking myself real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to see. Yeah, that's a 3 cost Floodborn. Do you know like can you take a guess of like the common theme behind 3 cost Floodborn, Zach?
Shift 1, they're all really good.
There's one that's a shift one, and the rest shift for free.
Oh, you're right. Oh yeah. They have, I think they did. I mean, this has been a really long time now, but I think at some point there was a question on like a Reddit AMA or something along those lines where they did ask about Sing Together and the alternate shift mechanic. And they did say at some point that those would be coming back in a bigger way. And so, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that is like a very crazy initial teaser that we are getting more alternate shifts, because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a super cool mechanic. A little toxic when we talk about birds, but birds have more problems. You could pay two to ship that bird, and it would still be terrible for the game.
Fair,
But
fair.
yeah, no, I'm really excited about this card. It's
Oh
beautiful.
yeah, I mean, and they said that there's some, again, like all of these little details that like normally I'm not really like get super hype about, but they said like the icons that are printed on there, and I don't, can I zoom in over here a little bit? Like the foiling on the icons is also going to be like different and better and special now, and so it just like looks very lifted off the card and very, you know, like 3D almost. And so it's just really cool. Again, all of the like the details that they're adding into it to just make them super, super special. And so I can't get enough of looking at that one. I mean, it's utterly beautiful is the only way to say it.
Gorgeous.
And then getting back into, you know, the kind of the playability aspect and, you know, talking about, you know, them making sure that everything is very sought after, I would get, I guess, from a competitive standpoint, and really making these worth to compete over. We have our set champs card as well, and so I know you've seen this one, so it's nothing crazy for you. But in case you haven't, the reveal, please, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon Enchanted Set Champs card. Let me tell you, if you don't want to be around an Inkfinity Set Champs when these come out, because boy, let me tell you, it's going to be sweaty.
It's gonna be sweaty. Oh my gosh. Like this card, I was floored. That artwork. I've been saying this like this feels like a DLC card. I know they got Dragonfire, but I saw the Dragonfire and I'm like, oh, the Maleficent Dragon would look so good. And
Yeah.
then this, it's even better. It's obtainable.
I know it's so good. And again, I think from a just a I would say synergy standpoint, you know, like the people that are going and playing at the set champs are obviously the people that want playable enchanteds, that want enchanteds that they can use to, you know, have value within the game, that they love playing and all that sort of stuff. And so it, in my eyes, this very much should be a playing reward versus a collecting reward. And, you know, obviously there have been a couple set champs cards that, like Maribel, for instance, I love that Maribel card. Is it playable? Not really. And so from that perspective, it's a little saddening. But I'm very fortunate to have like the collecting side of myself too that loves it. And so this one, however, every single player, regardless of if you play Ruby or not, wants this card. And because I know as a team, we've already talked about this, and we have a bunch of people that are very anti-red, ban red, and all of us want these massively. And so it's just, again, really cool to see that they've definitely taken the feedback, and they've definitely from the beginning said that they were going to go back and like revisit iconic cards from previous sets when they were doing like the Stitch, you know, into the Inklands Enchanted. But now they're definitely like making true on that promise. And so it's really cool to see.
And is this, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but is this like the best set champs card? Like Stitch, whenever he got reprinted, I don't think Rockstar was meta. I wasn't playing at the time, but I don't think Rockstar was really meta.
No, like he still a little bit of fringe play and has seen a little bit of fringe play, you know, here and there on a couple like, you know, Pride Lands decks that has popped up for him to be like your draw engine to just go like super wide with a bunch of Stitch draws.
Couple
But
puppy decks.
yeah, I mean, Ursula, you know, you should know firsthand that people definitely play Ursula Sea Witch Queen here and there. Scar hasn't seen a lot of play. Maribel hasn't seen a lot of play, obviously. And then this set, Hero, I would say is a little too new still to, you know, have a full like kind of read on if that is or not. But yes, this will obviously be the by far and away the, well, I say that, but stay tuned for the set 8 reveals, because they released the set 8 Enchanted 2, and I think that one will probably be really played as well. But as of now, yes, this is by far and away the most playable Enchanted from a set champs.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, it's gonna be sweaty. I'm so excited. It'll be so much fun. I missed out on Stitch and Ursula, so I show up for Mirabelle, and it's just like, oh yeah. And then I didn't get the real vibes of set champs, and so I'm really excited for this.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it will. I mean, you know, it's already sweaty. Like, you know, where we are. Again, you know, Team Inkfinity is very local as far as all of our members go, and we always usually follow each other around to all these set champs, and so. It's gonna be a bruiser for sure. We're gonna be fighting each other left and right for these top cuts, because I want a playset. I mean, I want a playset. There's no other way to say it. It's that simple.
We're road tripping, right? We're making the gauntlet run,
Oh,
going to
absolutely. I'm getting as absolutely many of these as I possibly can. I want all of us to have play sets of these. And so we're going to have to go to as many as we can to make sure we all get 4 so we can play them.
yeah, it'll be so good. The mat.
Oh, I know they haven't shown that yet. They haven't shown that yet, which I guess I'm kind of actually happy about because I still want, when set 9 gets closer and they release it and to just, that blow me away because I know that's going to blow me away too.
Yeah. Like I'm sure it's following like form unless they change it up. It's gonna be that Maleficent, and oh my gosh, that's gonna be so cool.
Yep. And then I don't actually think we've talked about this one yet, or from like your personal perspective on what your thoughts are. But I'm really excited to see what your thoughts are on the Goofy movie.
So hyped on this one. Oh my gosh, I just rewatched it like a couple weekends back,
Same.
and yeah, I'm so hype on this. I think yeah, it's just gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
Like
The music is I mean, Stand Out and Eye to Eye are two of the more, like non-princessy Disney songs. And so absolutely need those song cards in the game. Love Goofy, Max, and Powerline. Got to have them all. It's going to be a fun time for sure.
and we were talking about, like it's been a while back, but talking about like what happens when we just keep using all the lyrics from like all the Disney songs that are already in the game, and like, nah, there's Disney songs for days. Here we go.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. It's a new one for sure, but it's super excited. And then we have like one last, like or two, I guess I should say, like very last, very, very teasery stuff to talk about. So we did get our first hint at chapter 10 as well,
yeah.
which is, God, what is this one? I'm not super prepared. I thought I was. What's the name of this one? Is it
Whispers in the Well.
Whispers in the Well? That's right. Is this name of set 10? Whispers in the Well, and this is the promo art that we got for it. And so Whispers has to be like a new type, or a new ability, kind of like Vanish, right? Because it has to be some type of new mechanic in the game, or maybe mechanic's not necessarily the right word, but it has to do something, right? Like Whispers has to be a big thing.
So, yes, and the other thing I want to know is like we always have one set before, the bad guy starts to pop up for the set. So like we
Oh,
had
sure.
Shimmering Skies where everyone's just kind of partying and there were some like little hints of what's going on. And so I'm
Good point.
wondering if like this is going to be the first set, like the debut of the post Jafar villain.
Ooh, well, you have to be right on that one because, I mean, there's definitely some light, some very fun, bright, vibrant type stuff, but there's, in the background we get here, we've definitely got a lot of like ominous looming around, and so I could very much see that be the case, and that is a really, really good point.
Yeah. And we've been doing like ocean sea themed stuff for a while now. So now we're gonna switch up and be kind of dark, dank, delving in a cave. Like I love it. I really, like you said, the whispers would be such a cool like new card type of whichever way. Like, maybe it's like half a song or something in that like variety of actions. That'd be kind of neat. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It,
that's not all that's in this artwork though.
I definitely expect there to be some new type of, like I said, mechanic, keyword, ability that deal with whispers, whatever that ends up being. But we also got some property announcements with this as well. So if you have a keen eye, you can see in the background we have a gargoyle. So they announced Gargoyles is going to be coming to set 10. And then they also announced, which was this one was previously announced, but they said the Black Cauldron was coming this year. And then so they've announced that the Black Cauldron will be releasing with this one as well. And so I'm not the biggest Gargoyles fan, but the amount of like uproar that I heard on social media today, once they announced that, I was like, dang, people are apparently like love this. And I remember watching Gargoyles growing up. But I guess I just didn't have that same type of affinity that a lot of people did. And so I'm just, excited that a lot of people are hyped that it's coming.
I grew up with it. Like, I don't even remember back in the day. I loved it. I had little gargoyle toys. It was so great. Like that, the old X-Men show. I forget what all I watched, like old Spider-Man or something. But no, this one's hitting a nostalgia note for me. I'm really excited about it.
Yep, it's a big one for sure. And then the very last announcement we have for this reveal here is quite possibly the most requested character that I've seen, at least. So
There.
again, here we go, Darkwing Duck. Which this artwork, again, like the artwork, the immersion of the story, like all of the stuff that they're like, this is just fantastic. Like this is just utterly beautiful and very like on theme. And so it's, again, they just knocking it out of the park left and right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped for Darkwing, so hyped for like that card just looks so cool. What is happening? It's got to be an action, right? They don't usually put two people in a character card. Sometimes they do, but not usually if they're
Yeah.
fighting each other.
Yeah, that's a very strong point. There's there's a an account on social media, is Darkwing and Lorcana yet? And like every day it's just like, nope, not yet. Nope, still waiting. And right before we started recording, I saw his post for today. All right, Disney Lorcana responded to his post yesterday that said not yet, and they said, are you sure about that? And so it was really funny to for them to like finally interact with it and say, it's coming, buddy, it's coming, because a ton of people want this one. And so just, yeah, super excited to see just like, again, all of the excitement around, a lot of people's favorite character or one of their favorite characters get included to the game, because that's what it's all about. Like that's what drew me to this game. I have a massive affinity with Disney, and so getting to see and play all my favorite characters has been just a big joy. And so having other people get to experience that is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, like the day that we get Kingdom Hearts reveals, that's the day that I can lay my head down and rest easy at night.
I
Like,
become more and more optimistic that will happen, whether it's like a supplemental set or, something that's, kind of like some of the Pokemon ones that are just, kind of like one-offs that aren't part of like the main line of games, or, a holiday set of some sort that gets included in it, or, a collaboration like Magic has done in the past that, that one might take 10 years. I'm not going to, get your hopes up too much on that one. You might be waiting a really long time for that one. But honestly, I do think that there's a world where a lot of these different like collaborations come. Imagine this literally just came to my head, but the Pikachu, like Luigi and Mario cards that they did that
yeah.
are like incredibly, imagine like a Mickey and Minnie and Pluto and Donald and Daisy and like all the classic like Mickey and Friends characters, but they're wearing like superhero, like Thor outfits, or they're wearing like an Iron Man suit, or they're in like the Scarlet Witch outfit. Like how bonkers would that be?
That would be so hype. That'd be so fun. No, I would love it. I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's my like pie in the sky, like absolute wish of a set that comes at some point in the next 15 years of Lorcana, because that's not coming next year. I can assure you that one, but maybe one day.
Maybe one day they got the firepower behind them to do it. I
They
can
do.
see it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it was all Disney property, so we can make it happen. But okay, I think that wraps up all the big future state of the game announcements from today. So, any final thoughts or anything that we didn't talk about that you want to mention real quick?
I just gotta say, I've had a lot to be excited about concerning Lorcana over the past few months. Like, I am luckily blessed to be invited to the World
Of
Championship. I've
course.
had that on my mind. But even today, I think I've been the most excited I've been over Lorcana in a long time. And
Same.
sharing this with everyone else, it just gives me just such like a great hope for the future. I think it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah,
And this
I don't think I could have said it better. There's so much to be excited for. Again, the communication seems like it's going to be coming a lot more frequently now and a lot more consistent. Which at the end of the day, I think that's what we want. All of the new team members seem fantastic. From the communications team to the organized play team to the marketing team to all of the artists and other teams that they kind of talked through and showcased today. I think behind the scenes, they're starting to get everything, all their ducks in a row, and over the next couple months, especially. I guess the last thing is we didn't say is they said at Worlds. So like when you're competing at Worlds, they will announce like the next DLC schedule, and it's going to align with the rotation. So I imagine that if the rotation comes out in like August, September timeframe for set 9, then I would imagine we get our first DLC hopefully in like September, October timeframe. They definitely said this year, so we're definitely getting DLCs this year, so that's exciting.
And multiple. They did say they made sure to emphasize multiple. So
Yep.
I'm so excited.
And they said that the seasons will now align with the rotation splits, and so like there will be one DLC rotation that coincides, when the next like set of rotation happens, then they'll, that will kick off the next season. And so again, like, we're in a little 6 to 7 month lull here or whatever it is, but ultimately, like I said, long term, I think everything is going to start aligning very well with like the product cycles and all of that. And so it's super, super excited. It's just going to be a massive fall for Disney Lorcana fans for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. I think that pretty much wraps this one up. As always, everyone, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.